There's something that really bothers me when it comes to Asian love. Many men are going to Southeast Asia with the idea that they'll find a submissive woman who'll be there, waiting, ready to become the perfect wife. But let me tell you, that's a huge misconception. The reality is way different from the fairy tale people have in their heads. First off, the idea of getting a woman from another country like she's a trophy or a solution to your own problems is totally wrong. When you go to Southeast Asia looking for a wife, you need to stop and think. You're going after someone who, many times, has a much harder life than you do. And if you think she's going to love you unconditionally just because you have money or a more comfortable life, I'm sorry to tell you, what you're offering is just a chance for her to change her life. And yes, some cases may be genuine, but the majority are more of a deal than true love. Personally, I've been to Thailand, Malaysia, and many other places over there, and it's not hard to see how many men are falling for this story. It's a reality that people try to hide, but it's pretty obvious. What most men don't realize is that these women are often only interested in one thing: improving their lives. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. But what bothers me is seeing men who truly believe that these women are in love with them, when what they're really doing is looking for an opportunity to better their lives.
Hello YouTube, it's your boy the Passport Bro Wingman coming at you again with another YouTube video. The title of the video is called Passport Bros Now Regret Being Passport Bros, according to a news video on the All Asian Dilemmas channel. And I had been watching the All Asian Dilemmas channel in regards to, there were articles about a lot of the speed dating events there in which 1,000 or so leftover women had attended a meeting, but none of the men showed up. So I had been a subscriber of this channel for a while, which is why it surprised me when all of a sudden today, I saw they had a video that said 90% of, Chinese men that got foreign brides, they actually regretted doing so. So as I was watching the video, as you saw in the clip, they had a lot of negative talking points towards marrying foreign brides. And they talked about a lot of the unsuccess that a lot of men in China experienced as they were dating a lot of foreign brides. And they talked about how many of them actually regretted this. And I kind of wanted to address this and talk about the reasons why there's a lack of success in China versus the type of success that most men in the West experience when they deal with foreign women. So first off, I want to start here. And this actually is going to be a very different trajectory than I usually have in my videos. So first, let me say this. One of the problems I think they have there is, keep in mind that in China, it is mostly an atheist country. It's not a lot of Christians yet there. In fact, a lot of Christians are, they're pretty much shunned to the point that they have to do, services on the ground and that kind of thing. Now, you would ask, why would I bring up religion? Because religion is very important in this aspect in regards to how Western men versus Chinese men view marriage. As you know, in the Bible, as Kevin Samuels has always said, first there's God, underneath God is man, underneath man is woman, underneath woman is children. That's the order. And as you know, the woman was set apart to be the helpmate of the man. So the helpmate serves the man, and then the man serves God. If you even in Genesis, it says that, and I'm paraphrasing, that the woman's desire will be for a husband and that he will rule over her. So her desire is to serve you, and your desire is for your God. So you're supposed to serve God. And I bring up to say this, for a lot of people who are not necessarily Christian or even have some type of religious background, like maybe they're Muslim or something like that, for men who don't necessarily have this, it is my personal belief that there is a void that is there. And a lot of times the way men fill this void is by they start chasing vices and other things, such as they might chase, in this case, chasing women. They could be chasing money. They could be chasing, they can start turning to alcohol and drugs and other types of vices to kind of fill that void. So ultimately, that type of person, when they enter a marriage, a lot of times you hear terms like, goddesses, and this is my goddess, this is my queen, and that kind of stuff. You even had that kind of going on in the Black community a little bit, where people are saying this is like, calling the black woman, God and that kind of thing, which is, I always looked at it strange as it's a form of idolatry. Technically, yeah, it is a form of idolatry. You're supposed There's only one God, and there's only one God. His son is Jesus Christ, and you're supposed to serve God. That is what you're supposed to serve. And I say that to say this: when you don't have that, you're not gonna deal. Our outlook in dealing with people is gonna be different than someone's outlook who's not necessarily like a Christian or even believes in God. And I say that to say that as a result of us having God in our life, when we deal with women, we tend to have more of a centered, how can I say it, centered fulfillment. We're not looking for the woman to fulfill our lives and bring happiness. Your happiness ultimately is fulfilled in God and serving his purposes. And a lot of times your purpose comes from like your passion, whatever you're passionate about. A lot of times your purpose isn't in that. So a lot of you, you like teaching other people. So some of you become teachers. Some of you like securing and protecting people. So you become police officers. Some people, such as myself, you like, giving, teaching and giving details. So you might become like a big YouTuber. You like to help people. So either way, everyone has their own gift. And a lot of times your purpose isn't that gift. Now, shout out to AMS, who's a dating coach. One thing he did say that I really respect is he said a lot of times guys when they meet a woman, they give up all their hobbies. They give up all their hobbies. They stop doing what they were doing. They start to just serve the woman. And after a while, she kind of becomes like agitated and she doesn't want you around. And a lot of guys wonder why all of a sudden she finds the guy boring and then she winds up leaving him. It's because a lot of times you've put all your effort and your time into this woman instead of going after your hobbies and continuing the things you enjoy. And it causes an imbalance in a relationship. And a lot of time, and that's the main reason I brought up that's why I brought religion into this, because a lot of times, a lot of people in the East, they're coming from a different mentality and mindset. So that being said, most Western men are either Christian. You even have some that are like Muslim. You might have some that are Jewish and a few other things as well. But either way, they're still like a centered base that they have in regards to having value in life and purpose. So you have that. The other thing you need to keep in mind as well is that in China, a lot of times the men there, they work these very, very long hours. They're working like 12-hour shifts. Currently right now, the economy is doing bad in many places there. There's a lot of propaganda trying to make you think that they're doing very well, but this is not really true. And what I'm saying is, first off, the difference in money that the Chinese have versus the difference that American have, especially when they're dealing with foreign brides, it's going to be completely different. The standard of living is going to be completely different as well. And also, if you think about the way the government runs the people there's a lot of freedoms that they don't have. So when those men are dealing with women in Southeast Asia and they're bringing them to this country, there's a huge cultural difference versus, in my personal opinion, we actually are less conservative in the West. So like very liberal, very open about women going out and having rights and all this stuff. So what I'm saying is that it seems to me that it will be a little bit easier for them to culturally fit into like into the United States or like the UK or so forth. So you have that going. Keep in mind also that in a lot of the Asian countries, when you think about the stuff that they're ingesting as far as like entertainment and so forth, a lot of guys there are watching things like anime. There's this thing that Kevin Samuels talked about, I believe in Japan, where people were dying literally in their apartment. Because they were living alone. They basically didn't leave their apartments. All they did all day was just order out food, watch anime, and play video games all day. So I want you to think about the mentality of somebody who's doing that for like a whole months at a time, where they never leave their apartment, they never interact with somebody else. I wouldn't even call it necessarily introverted. It's almost like they're in their own little bubble. So if they're in their own little bubble, I want you to think about their mentality when they go out and deal with a lot of women. They're going to have these very unrealistic expectations. And as we all know, me, myself included, no one is perfect. I'm not perfect. We all have our imperfections and that kind of thing. But they're going to be going to this thing with this expectation that this woman is going to be this perfect angel woman who's going to fulfill all these fantasies and wishes and all that kind of stuff. And then when she doesn't turn out to do that, they have a lot of regret, and they don't believe that they start like they basically start becoming like black pilled or turning MGTOW, where they just don't want to deal with women at all. And what I'm saying is their expectations are going to be completely different from men in the West, where literally men in the West, we're literally putting up with women who Monique said, like she doesn't shave her legs. I think the singer Adele, they asked about shaving her legs. She pretty much said that she's not going to do that for another man. We got dudes, a lot of times the woman weighs more than the man. The women don't want to cook and clean. And men, even for these women, even today, men will just send for them, throw lots and lots of money at them. So what I'm saying is our expectations of what women are supposed to do in our lives is very, very low in comparison to men of all the other countries, in my opinion. All the countries outside of the West, especially in the East, our expectations are very, very low. So when we get to a country and a woman wants to cook and clean, we're very impressed by that. Versus the men there, I'm gonna say that to some degree they're kind of spoiled, they're kind of used to it, so they're expecting something. A lot of them expecting something a little bit more than that. And then when she doesn't do it, then there's a lot of complaints and regret and that kind of thing. So that's why, in my personal opinion, the passport bros of the West, we're completely different than the passport bros of the East. Our mentalities, our backgrounds, what we're looking for women is completely different than the passport bros on the East. They have a completely different set of circumstances. And that being said, although they're trying to say, and I really wish they would show their statistics on where they're getting this, because I actually don't believe this, but when they're trying to say that 90% of men there who are doing this regret it, which I don't believe, because that channel, if you notice, it's called Asian Dilemma, so it's more of a pessimistic channel. So they're trying to say that most men regret marrying foreign brides. But as I told you before, AP News has stated that 75% of marriages between American spouses and foreign spouses go 20 years or more. So most of those marriages are successful, more successful than they are when you date somebody who's within your same country, within America. So, and again, success does not mean that you're not going to have arguments. Doesn't mean that you're going to not have any disagreements. That's why I say it turns into Walt Disney. That's when it turns to you watching too many anime movies and that kind of thing. You still got to have a realistic view. No woman is perfect. So that being said, me, myself, and a lot of past bros in general, we go over to these other countries with the expectation that women are not perfect anywhere. But however, the quality is a whole lot better than it is in the United States. I'm sure that most men would agree on that. Even some of these men who have regret, if you were to ask them, I'm sure they will even agree with us that the foreign brides are more, in general, more submissive and tend to make better wives. That's all we're saying. We're not saying that you're going to get there and it's going to be a perfect Walt Disney picture. That's not going to happen. That's just being unrealistic. So that's that. And then just know in general that any type of marriage relationship, it's going to be work. I mean, you guys got to kind of work together. You got to kind of work through, like I said, the cultural differences and that kind of thing. But me, myself, already being prepared to that, it doesn't really bother me. And again, when you kind of consider what the alternative is, going back to and being with the plantation bros, it's not even an option. So there is no regret. I actually so happy I found out about traveling, found out about foreign women, and I've been blessed by God to have enough money where I can actually travel and meet women of different countries and form relationships with them. And even now having the opportunity to share my experiences with a lot of people on YouTube and helping these guys out. I really feel like that's one of my purposes being here as well. I just want to help a lot of guys escape the matrix and going to find the woman of their dreams, So that being said, I don't want to keep this video very, very long. So I'm going to end on this note, something a little bit different than I usually do. So if you're a guy out there and you think that chasing women is going to fulfill all your voids and your unhappiness, I want to tell you that that's not true. Your happiness will only be found in God, your creator. And I ask that you would, and I recommend that, that you learn about my Savior, Jesus Christ. And by believing in Jesus Christ, all your sins are forgiven. You can be at peace with God. And I just ask that you will follow, find a local church, get involved, let God be the center of your life. Let him be your happiness. And along that path, he will show you what's truly going to make you happy. And as you follow him and you follow those passionate things that he's giving you, those gifts he's giving you, you're going to just find a piece of happiness that you won't find for chasing money or chasing girls or anything else. I'm an imperfect person. I have my faults, but the good thing about Christianity is that it's not based on performance. It's actually based on your faith. Your faith in Jesus Christ, which is going to cover your past, present, and future sins as well. So that's my pitch to you for to come out to Christianity. If you don't have any type of, if you're feeling void, you have any type of unhappiness, that ultimately is where I find a lot of my happiness and peace coming from. And I want you brothers out there to have that same peace and happiness as well. And along that path, I pray that God will bless you and you have the money to kind of travel, find you a foreign bride that treats you well, takes care of you. And with that woman, I pray that you're able to just build a happy, strong family. And on that note, to all my subscribers out there, especially the ghost ones, please subscribe to my channel if you have not. Hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell. And until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.